Hi everyone, Michelle here, and I am here with you today with a scrapbook process video from my creative scrapbook using the limited edition April kit. And this kit is full of simple vintage flower shop, as well as a couple of other bits and pieces. And so this particular paper that I'm going to use for my background is actually a memory place, and it's called Dream Plan Do. But I thought I would use some of these flowers as they match the flowers in my bouquet, as well as a few of these. And then I thought I would have pink just on either side. And so that is my plan so far. Now, I talked about using this on another layout, and I never did. So I will probably be using that on here. And then I might also do just a little bit of mixed media on the background, but not a whole lot. So that currently is my plan. I also might make my picture just a little bit smaller, maybe a 3.5 by 5 instead of the 4 by 6. So that is my current plan. So let's see how we make this work. So I do want to have, like I said, some pink going up and down the sides. Kind of wanted a stronger vertical feel with that wood grain. And so I had a die that I just got from Tim Holtz that creates these borders. And so I created those with the floral paper for each side. And then I wanted to lighten it up just a little bit on that right side. As you can see, I'm not doing this in a symmetrical way. I want the left side to be narrower with the pink and the right side to be fatter, so that there's room for my cluster on that side. So I do in addition that white border as well. And I've also stitched down both sides with white thread. So I find that if I am trying to piece together a 12 by 12, it's easiest for me to do it on my MISTI. That's why I had that out. And so now I know everything is 12 by 12 and is uh, relatively straight, at least straight enough for me. And so now I am taking a look at how I want to map my photo. And I will say, and I'll probably talk about that like too much through this video, but this one was a bit of a struggle for me. And we can talk about why as we go into it. But I'm going to go ahead and mat my photo with some tissue paper first, and then I am going to mount it on that same pink that I used on the background, on white, and then on the blue plaid. And so those are going to be all the layers in my mats. And my mats are going to be a bit wonky. I don't want them to be um, too even though this is a bit of a formal picture, it is a wedding picture. Since the layout is not symmetrical, I have the mats in different weights on each side. So as you'll see here shortly. So with that cut file that comes in the kit, it um, I had a hard time figuring out exactly how I wanted to lay that out. And so I would say on this layout, I overthink things way too much, and I was my own worst enemy, and that kind of got in my way. But I do take the cut file and I decide I'm going to ink it. And so um, I am going to ink it with, I believe I used Stormy Skies as you will see here shortly, because I kind of wanted it to match, come in a little bit closer to the color of my wedding dress. And so off camera, I will do that. So when that file comes back on camera, you'll see it is a different color. And I decide to add a bit of florals onto the background behind where my clusters are going to be. And so I'm going to do a little bit up to the left there and then some down to the right. Now I am adding some white paint to my modeling paste or my texture paste there because I have not gone any further in my journey to find a pure white texture paste. And so I really like this little stencil. I believe it might be, I believe it's a Vicky Bouton stencil. And so I do it in the upper left and the bottom right, and then I take it even further into the right there onto the pink paper as well. So I think that is about all I'm going to do with mixed media, other than, like I mentioned, I am going to, or I have already at this point, inked that cut file, and then I'm going to take my shaping tool and just make give this a bit of a lift. And I think this was one of the reasons why I had a hard time using it actually in my layout is um, because I did this, but it really should like have stayed flat so other things could sit on it easily. And so if you want to use it as a wreath, I would not advise lifting it up like that, particularly with a smaller wreath like this. If it's a larger wreath, then that usually works out really well. Um, but I'm struggling a little bit. Where am I going to put I'm going to use that "You Made Me Smile" as my title. And so, now that I look at it, I don't know why I didn't like any of these options because they were all options I could work with. I decided to cut my wreath in half, and I'm thinking I'm just going to use part of it, and that would have been totally fine, even just using half of it. Um, but like I said, I was my own worst enemy. And so I have, at this point, I like went to bed thinking I might like even be starting over on this layout. And I woke up with like just a different mindset and everything went so much smoother. And so that is my advice to you. If you're not liking how something is coming along, just take a break, whether it's overnight or whether you go take a walk or whatever. And so I am going forward with purpose now. And so I'm going to go ahead and build a cluster up to the left there. I am going to use that little spray of pink flowers, which I think is really adorable. And I have decided with my wreath that I am just going to cut it up and use it as sprigs. And I like that a lot better. And I think part of why I like that is it does spread that color through my layout a little bit, um, a little bit more. And so between those sprigs and the lavender flower that I use towards the bottom, you'll see I have a nice balance of that color. So I do use that love this most purple sentiment up at the top. And then with my You Make Me Smile, um, I know it doesn't make that much of a difference, but I pull it down so my layout is more diagonal and my flowers are to the right of my title instead of being close to my picture. And so that made a big difference for me as well. Again, subtle differences, right? And so I continue to build my layers with a lot of the florals that come in the kit. I use that large pink flower and that purple flower, though the placement of those change a little bit. I use one of the stems for the flowers to tie off my tag. Excuse me. Had to have a little had to have a little drink of something. And so now I am taking a look at some of the stick flowers that come in the stickers, and I want to use a few of the purple ones and the smaller ones in that upper left cluster. So I do use, a little bit of everything in this layout, and so it is. Um, when they say the collection is flower shop, well, I take my inspiration from that and use just a bunch of different colors. Now, some of the clusters, having said that, have kind of a wheat looking flower coming off of those. I don't use a bunch of yellow in this layout. There's a little bit, but not of that kind of wheat look. And so I did cut some of those off of my flower embellishments. And now I am getting close to, let's see. Oh, I should mention, you can see on the larger pink and light pink flowers down below, I did remove the hard center from those. And so I replaced the centers with some gold and pearl beads. And I am taking a look at where I want to put that flower up above, and I do decide to have it up on that top left corner, a little bit away from that cluster, just to help with that diagonal look. I'm going to add a few little butterflies. I think the main ones, I add a little blue one up to the top left, and then I've added it's kind of a sagey green there to the tag. Um, and I've cut out a small one as well to go on the lavender flower. That's the little pink butterfly you see there. I'm also going to add a few more beads. And at the end, I am going to also add some white sprigs just to kind of match what I have in my hair. So I'm getting close to the end. So thank you for watching this video. I appreciate everyone's kind words and likes and subscribes. So if you have not checked out my creative scrapbook yet, there is a link in my comment or in my description, as well as my playlist for my creative scrapbook. I love their kits. And so they have just a wide variety, though. If you are not into the flowers, that's totally fine. There's other options. So check them out. Have a great day, and I will see you on my next video. Here are some close ups.